Zensurance is Canada's leading business insurance broker, providing all kinds of contractors and small business owners in the construction industry with the coverage they need in just a few minutes. We shop over 50 insurance providers to ensure that contractors, trade professionals, and construction companies get the lowest possible price. Simply visit zensurance.com/DCN, and in just a few minutes, you could save up to 35% on the customized policy you need. That's zensurance.com/DCN. Hello and welcome to the Construction Record Podcast. I'm digital media editor Warren Frey, and with me today I have
Lisa Barnes, director for our Buildings and Construction Group.
And I'm James Wyatt. I'm the programming manager for the Buildex series.
And that's exactly why we got you both here today, is because Buildex Vancouver is coming up in a few weeks, and we're going to talk about a couple of the highlights and also sort of the general appeal of the trade show, and also the journey of the trade show through 2020 to now, because it's been a weird couple of years, and I'm sure you guys felt that more than most. So I guess I'd start with Lisa. You have a couple of sort of showcase features called ReGrow and the Central Bar. So if you could explain what those are to the audience.
Sure. Yeah, we're thrilled to be back in person and face to face at Buildex coming up March 23rd to the 24th. And the two features that you mentioned. What's exciting about some of these collaborations is, we'll dig into some of the content that's taking place within the show in a minute, but it's so critical that we're having all these really powerful conversations, especially at our conference level, on our main stage with our keynotes. We're bringing together a tremendous amount of speakers, with over 150 speakers, 65 sessions. We're having all these conversations, but what this medium of this kind of a face-to-face event allows us to do is really connect in a meaningful way that content onto the show floor in these sort of immersive experiences for our attendees. And it really helps to contextualize what they're learning and kind of explore these important conversations that are really propelling the industry forward. So one of them that's so exciting for us this year is what you mentioned, the ReGrow feature. So Michael Green Architecture, MGA, and Unbuilders have come together essentially to really create this sort of visual and experiential display that confronts the largest single contributor to our overflowing landfills, which is construction and demolition waste. Mm-hmm. Really sort of looking at the current practices around construction and demolition, and the fact that it produces 40% of our solid waste here in Canada. So the incredible thing about this partnership and this installation is that they're exploring what the opportunities and the potential is with this waste itself. So really our ability to find new lives for the materials, to divert millions of tons of CO2 from being released into the atmosphere, really turning this waste into supply as part of this conversation around circular economy. So, mm-hmm. And not only is it, sort of connecting. I think what this feature is going to also help people to understand and to do is sort of almost to connect to the history of material and place itself, and think differently about not just sort of the entire process, but really about the sort of the longevity of the material itself. So the installation is going to be a visual display of circular economy, really sort of bringing that to life, and mm-hmm. quite literally starting with a large pile of waste from demolition. So you can imagine that's kind of where it starts, and thinking about moving away from this sort of traditional linear economy model of take and make and dispose, and alternatively thinking about this sort of carefully deconstructed pile of waste, of demolition, that will be saved, sorted, and reused. So really, what's really exciting about this too is it's sort of like an opportunity to kind of regrow our buildings with the use of deconstructed materials. Kind of this like rising from the pile of waste will be this beautiful, and it is quite beautiful, this large sort of canopy mm-hmm. structure that you can explore. There'll be opportunity to sit and have conversation within the feature. So we're really thrilled. This is completely new content. It's the first time that we've worked with these two incredible groups coming together to co-create at the show essentially, and both sort of offering both themselves in their own right have done such incredible work here in Vancouver as well. And then the other feature that we're excited to kind of launch this year, it's called Barcode, and essentially it's our central bar. So really kind of the hub, the center of the show, where we really want to facilitate connections and bring people together. And it's presented by Cosentino, designed by Pure Design, and they're basically, it's like a cheeky kind of fun take on the retail experience. They're quite literally taking the inspiration from an actual barcode as a part of that retail journey, and just giving life to basically kind of really showcasing what you can do with the Cosentino products. And Cosentino themselves will also be on site at the show in their own exhibit space. So people can really sort of experience the bar. They can go talk to the Cosentino reps, kind of learn a little bit more about Decton, about Salstone. But the neat thing about this is you get to see, not only get to see the product in situ, but you also, I think what I love about these kinds of collaborations sometimes is, especially for the architects and designers, in a way, the client is the event, and in a way, if they're partnering with some material, that's kind of their client. But it's really, this is an opportunity for them to draw on their own kind of inspiration, as if they almost don't have a client, and really have the freedom to explore concepts in a way that they can't, right? If they've got like a more traditional client, they can't kind of explore in this way often. So this is really exciting. We're thrilled to have them have both partnerships and both features at the event this year.
And that makes me think, you were talking about people coming together, and that, well, we've all had to go through several hoops for that to happen. And I would imagine, well, not imagine, it's legally required for you to have vaccination and all the rest of it. So what have you had to go through, and how are things different in terms of, I know there was always networking get-togethers and stuff, but that's got to be changed a little this year from previous years.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so, we have been, through the course of the pandemic, we've pivoted quite a bit to virtual digital, but we've also, Buildex is a part of Informa, and Informa is a global organization. So we've been producing and running events across the globe, really throughout the pandemic, both virtually and physically face-to-face. So the great thing there is that we've come together globally, all of our operations leaders, to really create all secure standards, and how we've really raised the bar around safety and hygiene at the event. So certainly people can expect a very safe experience. We're organizing in accordance with official government and local authority guidelines, very specific to also the venue and the location that we're in, of course. And so that's, it changes a little bit, obviously, as the restrictions change, and we sort of keep everybody up to date, certainly on our website and through a lot of our communication. But it's, things to expect are like proof of vaccination, mandatory mask covering, contact tracing, enhanced sanitization. The building itself is the VCC is a state of the art. The Vancouver Convention Center is state of the art, so has really incredible ventilation. But yeah, certainly that's part of the design of the event. Really, it's part of, I think, one of the, in a way, it's like a design brief when we're kind of looking at how we're structuring the event, designing the event, creating the experience, that customer journey for all of our attendees, how they are, moving through the event, connecting with other people, getting their information. That's all part of it, that they feel really comfortable and safe while they're doing that.
Okay, and next question is pretty expansive, so I want to hear from both of you about it. What is on offer this year? What's different this year, as besides the two showcase things you talked about, and what old favorites are back, I guess?
I can jump in really quick and just give a very quick overview. Certainly Buildex brings that holistic design and construction industry together. So that's always been the case, and I think. We've got over 200 exhibitors this year. We talked about some of these collaborative installations that are new. We do have a new keynote main stage, which we're really thrilled about, and James will talk a little bit more about. We've got technology and innovation showcases, product demonstrations, 3 sort of key show areas, including our for our property managers, for construction, for architects and designers. So there's definitely a mix, and I think we can probably give you some highlights. I'll let James maybe speak first to the main stage.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. And yeah, it was fantastic actually drawing up like a list of the new features, new content that we're introducing to the show for 2020, for 2022. And I know Lisa's just talked a little bit about ReGrow and Barcode, and hinted then to the Buildex main stage, which is a completely new feature for Buildex, and it's like a show stage at the heart of the show floor. The idea was to create free to attend educational programming there. So all of the sessions across that stage are free to attend for all that are coming to Buildex. And it was a place for community partners to release innovations, to talk about big ideas and big new challenges. So I was really I'm really happy to see how that content's come together. Again, it's all on the program on the website. And then in addition to that, I know, Warren, you did ask us a little bit about those some of those favorites that are coming back year on year. And we do have some really incredible partnerships. We've got the BC Wood Pavilion, they're going to be back. Techcentric is actually our own creation, but that's like an area of kiosk. It's kind of future forward, a little bit like industrial chic looking. It's where we host a lot of AEC tech conversations and PM, like property management technology conversations in that space. PAMA are coming back. They have a networking lounge, networking area. They've got a luncheon as well as their own educational programming. So that's definitely a favorite that's coming back. Passive House Canada, again, back for 2022. So again, a large, I think it's about 1,500 square foot pavilion. They've got their own learning lab. So that's content that it's coming exclusively from Passive House Canada, all about the Passive House standard. So that's a really awesome feature. I was so glad to bring them back on again this year. And then what else have we got coming back? Actually, it's something new. So IDIBC. So IDIBC are creating their own designers lounge on the show floor, which is something that's again going to be new. And they're shifting around a few things elsewhere within the program. So in the past, we've had the IDIBC's leaders breakfast that's been part of the conference, and now they're switching that up. So we've still got some content from that for our interior design colleagues in the afternoon, and they're ending their day with their own networking reception at Buildex. So like really glad that was kind of a bit of a mix between something new, something old coming together to do something different for 2023.
One of the things I always went to at Buildex Vancouver was the key thing really for me, because in terms of content, it was a goldmine, was sessions, educational sessions. But I would imagine you have to reconfigure those a little bit too, given restrictions and social distancing and the rest of it.
Oh, that was part of the fun, right? So for the last 2 years have been an incredible process, and Lisa talked a little bit about the virtual offerings we've been through. And one thing I was actually really proud of in 2020, we released one of the industry's largest large-scale events in a virtual capacity, which was Buildings Week, which was done alongside our colleagues in Toronto. And then since then, we've been through some other virtual iterations with a few different products within BC and then Alberta for a series of webinars. And then coming back to the face-to-face, I mean, now we're 4 weeks out, and we're actually in the position where we're going to be back in person, back in those conference rooms at the VCC, and it really is a fantastic facility. We've got loads of space up there, so we've got the ability to be flexible. So yeah, our attendees, they're not going to come back to sitting in rows shoulder to shoulder, although the PHO restrictions have been lifted and we're not under the same capacity requirements now. We're not going back to those jam-packed conference rooms. So we're keeping the space. We had to play around a little bit with our floor plans and about how we're going to set up our technologies and our rooms. But the conference level, we've got maybe pretty much this similar, if not the same amount of content we had in 2020, but people can come and come into an environment whereby they're safe, they're secure, and they're going to be comfortable, and then come and listen to that great content and those expert speakers that they can expect from being at Buildex in the past.
Okay, and I'm led to believe this is going to be sort of a hybrid event, so there are digital things on offer, I would assume. And what are those things?
Well, see, we took a slightly different approach with hybrid. So so Buildex Amplified, which is kind of the umbrella show that we pulled together our 2021 and 2022 content into. So our virtual component of our show, which is available to view on demand through the Buildex website. So that was hosted in September. We had a series of 3-day long series of webinars in combination with small in-person micro events. I mean, at that time, pre-winter, we were still in a partial social lockdown with high restrictions. So we had to be really careful about how we were able to bring people together face to face, which we were in really small group sizes. And then the rest of that expert content, we understand that a lot of our professional audience are coming to Buildex to collect their CEUs, to keep up their professional accreditations. And so this was one of the first times we've done this through Buildex, but we actually released a lot of that professionally accredited content online in September. So we kind of like split our hybrid event. So we actually did our virtual event September. Now we're coming back to face, and February is going to be 100% in person at the VCC. And then as we move forward into 2022, our AEC colleagues can expect to see more coming from Buildex, and then also our 365 community, which is Buildings Canada, as we kind of start to release more educational content in an online environment. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for on our social media channels for Buildings Canada and Buildex to see what's coming through later in the year for those people who can't be there face to face.
Okay, and if people want to register for one thing, or just learn about the different sessions and all the other stuff that's going to be on offer, where should they go?
Yeah, so buildexvancouver.com will take you to our current site, and you can find all the information of the features, the program pages, our association partners. We've got third-party events that are on there, and of course, there's hundreds of exhibitors and sponsors. You can also follow us at Buildex Shows, and that's across Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Or you can use hashtag Buildex Vancouver across those social media channels as well, and you'll be able to pick up an array of content that's out there, and it will direct you all to the right place. And key point here as well is we have early bird pricing available right now, and that expires at midnight, going on Friday, February 25th.
Okay, Lisa and James, thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.